was I went to Boston. It was probably like 2001, 2002, because the album had just came out, and I was still promoting it. Went to Boston, did a show at the Middle East, and met Mr. Lift, dope cat, respect his work, and Acrobatic, met him, the creators. I met like a lot of the Boston cliques, and they showed me mad love. And I did a show with him, which ended up being his live album show. So it was like a good night. I opened for him. I was still promoting my album, so I did my thing. And later on, he brought me on his set, and I ended up on his live album, which a lot of people still talk about, like, yo, you killed the freestyle. But I met this cat named Marlo, who is the owner of Grit Records, and Marlo was like feeling me. He's like, yo, man, I want to get you back out here. Plus, I would love to work with you. And that's when he was telling me that he was going to be doing Chris's, like KRS-One's next album. This was like before, like years before the album came out. So I really wasn't sure if he was real. Like I was like, okay, yeah. But you know, he seemed like a genuine cat. We kept in touch, and eventually, like, we stayed in touch. And he was also telling me about this cat Soul Supreme, which was this Swedish cat, this young cat from Sweden who was producing. And he did like a thing called the Saturday Night Agenda, which he remixed a lot of different cats, and he had a little buzz for a little while. He got nice production. Like I was actually feeling his beats, but it was a little different from what I was used to. So it took me a while to really grab onto it. But this cat Marlo ended up he actually did finally send me some tracks, and one of the tracks was KRS-One spitting on the first verse, which was a song called Still Spitting. And so he's like, yo, I want you to come right in after Chris, you know, spit 16, and I got these other cats that I'm gonna have on there, like a posse track. So I was like, yo, come on, you know, me spitting after Chris. So I went in on it, and then it ended up on the album. The album was called Keep Right, and Chris gave me big ups. See, the funny thing is, KRS-One, like my man Peely knows KRS. He was in the video. I can't remember the song right now. But he knows KRS-One. I never really formally met Chris. I was kind of always in the background. But when I got on the song with him, he was like giving me mad big ups. He was like, yo, this cat, whoever that cat was after me, like, yeah, that's that shit. Like, yo, man, that cat is nice. And I met him later on when we did a show. He came to Chicago at Joe's Bar. We did a show, and it was bananas. Like Chris just tore it down. You know what I'm saying? So it was just love just to be on the album. But it ended up also, you know, I created a relationship with these guys in Boston, and they were like, yo, we want to put you with this producer who we've been working with, Soul Supreme. Let's do an EP, a compilation thing, like producer, MC, you know what I'm saying, compilation. And so I was like, all right, you know, I wasn't really doing anything at the time. You know, Parker was still doing the jazz style thing, Jazz Child Records thing, but I felt like I wasn't really getting out there like I wanted to. So I'm like, okay, let me do this project and see what they could do for me. So we started the project. Soul Supreme was sending me a lot of different beats. I started picking the beats I liked. And what happened was, like, eventually things just started to slow down. Like, the money wasn't coming in, you know, because they would put me in the studio. They would send me a couple advances. I would go in the studio, record. And it was, you know, really low budget, you know what I'm saying? But it was just all about getting the music done. So eventually, like, when things just started to dry up, I was, like, left with, like, 8 songs. And I'm like, you know what, instead of doing an EP, let's just make it into an album, because I haven't been out for years. You know, my last album was '01, my last full project. So I'm like, cats really want a whole album. So I'm like, let's just wait and let's just do this thing as a whole album. So I just took it upon myself to just try to get myself in the studio. You know, I'm single, you know, individual, just trying to like support my family. I got seeds, I got a wife. So it was hard for me to do it, but I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try to do as much as I can to get the album done. And that's really where I've been. Like, I've been trying to get this album done. And I met a couple cats help me out along the way, but basically I still been like really just on my own, just getting the production done, going in the studio, paying out of my pocket if I have to. And I'm at the like really final stages right now of getting the album finished, which is really like, I'm happy. I actually played the background. I mean, I'm low key, like, just through the whole thing. Like, I mean, Parker was doing NUR. What happened was NUR started out as one of the first radio shows to do hip hop. Easy Lee was the first one. Easy Lee was Kool Moe Dee's DJ. He was out here doing NUR on Sunday nights. Peely took over, I think 82, 83. Peely came in and took over that show. and started like bringing more hip hop to Chicago. He would go to New York, bring back records that cats didn't have, and he would like, you know, so he kept the show going. And there was a cat named Rick Rock who I met on the north side of Chicago who got with Peely and got with me, and he kind of became part of the clique. And he was rhyming. He was from North Carolina, East Coast cat, with a little bit different flavor. And he started rhyming. He, you know, we kind of just took him in. You know, he was a cool brother. And he was more part of NUR's show than I was. Like, I was kind of in the background. I would do, you know, I would go over Peely's house every day religiously, and we would just make tapes and we'd record and just freestyle or whatever. And this cat Rick Rock was more like, I want to get a demo, you know, I want to like put an album together. And I was just like, I wasn't really, I wasn't thinking like that back then. I was just like, is this something I do? Like, that's just, you know, I was like just prolific, but not really trying to put it together like that. So I was just like, and I didn't come to NUR. Like, I probably came once or twice. But yeah, Rick Rock was on the air. He was playing songs that him and Rick Rock would do together on the air. Slippery When Wet, Blowjob Becky. I can't remember all the songs, but he had like at least 5 or 6 songs that were actually structured. And as you know, as opposed to me, I was a freestyle cat. I would just rhyme forever, you know. So that's pretty much how that went down. I mean, but NUR is definitely like legendary Chicago radio show. You know, that was like one of the first radio shows.